Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your kind invitation. I'd like to thank our chair also for his kind introduction and for his introductory remarks. I believe that what was written in 2013 on our website, the website of IRIN, is even more meaningful nowadays. In June last, the industrial plan was adopted till 2020, and the major focus is very much on efficiency and energy efficiency, even more so. Now, with reference to what the Pope wrote, I would like to refer to energy efficiency as part of the process leading up to the renewable nature of energy. Jean-Claude Juncker wrote the following: I want to reform and reorganize Europe's energy policy in a new European energy union. In Europe, there are as many as 500 million inhabitants, and up until today, no single energy policy has ever been adopted. And the President of the European Commission has handed over this mandate, that of developing an European energy union. There are three main objectives of the European Energy Union, i.e. security, affordability, and climate-friendly energy. Obviously, with reference to energy, we want energy to be secure, affordable, and climate-friendly. The President of the European Commission and the additional members to that identify 5 dimensions along which to reach such objectives, i.e. security in the supply, a fully integrated European market, again for energy, energy efficiency, reduction of emissions, and governance, with important focus on research, innovation, and competitiveness. As is often the case with Europe, whenever Europe identifies a direction to be followed, then directives follow. The directive on energy efficiency dates back to 2012. That directive was included in an Italian piece of legislation, Law Number 102 of 2014, which title reads Implementing the 2012-27 EU on Energy Efficiency. Well, the EU directive of 2012 identified a set of measures to make sure Europe could reach the energy efficiency it had set for itself for 2020. The European countries that want to be more efficient across all the different stages of energy efficiency. So Italy, starting on these two assumptions, adopted this law, setting a target for energy efficiency. That target is 20 million TOE of primary energy by 2020, based on 2010 figures. The second bullet is the National Action Plan for Energy Efficiency, with measures, savings, and estimations of consumption. Third bullet, energy efficiency in our buildings. You know full well many of the Italian buildings are historical buildings, and certainly they weren't built having any consideration of the then non-existing legislation. Then you white certificates are closely related to efficiency. We are fully committed to arrive at energy efficiency in an ongoing way. Then, fifth bullet, we want to reach greater efficiency also in terms of heating and cooling, adopting cogeneration and district heating systems that are to be enhanced. Measures are to be taken so that all windows are double glazed. Then bullet 6 reads consumer empowerment. Then bullet 7 reads energy audits for the large size industries. 8th bullet, monitoring the efficiency levels in the new energy generation capacities. And the last bullet, no rules for energy dispatching. Now, let's talk about Russia. Well, the Russian government has identified a number of issues to make the country more efficient in terms of energy consumption. President Medvedev has launched an action to reduce the lack of efficiency by 2020. Russia can save up to 45% of its energy consumption, and the potential areas for savings are as follows: residential buildings, public buildings, industries, transports, electricity, heat supply systems, and gas flaring. I believe that we are all in agreement that both Europe and Russia are in line on that. Now, in our daily lives, we are constantly interacted with the public services. When we get up in the morning, usually we start a certain interaction with light. So then afterwards we use the water, and if we make our coffee we also use gas, thus generating also waste. And during the winter we use also a heating system. So we are constantly interacted with the energy. Cities are not well connected, they're poorly connected, they're not friendly, they're poor social integration, and cities are certainly not environmentally friendly. A city to become more friendly, to grant better connection, to grant better social integration, and as to be also more environmental friendly. These processes take long time. These are processes that are underway across all our cities, with important repercussions on the economic development of our communities. Now, to become smart, to become friendly, we have to trigger a process of digitalization within the cities. There are some 10 billion smart objects, as we term them, allowing for the interconnection among people, that we're also going to have objects that communicate amongst themselves and that can generate object-to-object or person-to-object interactions. The number, the 10 millions, are going to be soon, in 2020, more than 50 billion, thus generating data, signals, opportunity for connections. This implies that our life is bound to change, and to change dramatically. Citizens are going to play a central role. As of 2010, we know that over 10% of the world's population is urbanized. This means that cities become a place where they're requiring administration, where energy is consumed, and citizens are therefore going to be concerned as prosumers, because they're going to be both producers and consumers of energy. At the same time, citizens are also going to become sensors themselves and actuators. Cities, therefore, will change dramatically. This means that the grid, the network, that we're one direction network because there was one producer and a lot of consumers, but in the future such networks are going to become two tiers. So there's going to be a lever for the two-direction transmission of power. Each of us are going to become both consumers and producer of energy, and then we're going to have as much for information, the second level of information transfer. The smart grid is therefore going to be certainly much more flexible than we know it today, thus changing lifestyles. The services provided to citizens at home are going to be ever smarter, so there's going to be an ongoing interaction between ourselves and the home devices. In 2020, some 2 billion of smart homes will be interconnected. This means that in our cities we're going to have an ever greater level of interactions between interconnected systems. So our systems, our cities are going to be even ever smarter. The process is already underway in our homes. This intelligence, this smartness is not just going to be targeted to make energy more efficient. Indeed, we're going to have domotics and smart homes providing for health services, better security. So our way of life will change dramatically, and to a certain extent this has already happened. Well, this very important change, this increase in the interaction between ourselves and the devices, is something that we're going to witness also within our companies. Indeed, ever more frequently do we hear about the 4.0 companies. Within our companies, we're going to have an ever stronger interaction between devices, smart devices, and individuals. And insofar as energy is concerned, we're going to be well-developed systems also for the management of energy consumption. Cities and public authorities will interact even more. Well, public finance is certainly in a difficult situation at the moment, so processes within our public administrations require being changed. I'm going to put an example. I believe that without reducing the number of services to the citizens, we can release resources thanks to the change introduced in the processes. Think about schools, for example. Well, in Italy, there are some 64 square meters of schools. So many of these schools date back to the 60s and before the 70s. So they are to be found across the whole of the country. All too often the energy system is not efficient. By means of a better interaction with smart devices or with heating systems, important savings can be obtained, up to 20%. Now, in closing, I would like to refer again to another issue connected to the public authorities. I would like to refer to the lighting of our cities. There again, some 50% reduction in energy consumption can be obtained without worsening the quality of the service being offered to our citizens, without reducing the number of lights fixtures. In our cities, there is certainly room for improvement. The same is true for our homes. So I believe that there is a huge opportunity ahead of us. We can improve our living conditions for the citizens at large, better using or putting the available resources to best use. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy your evening.